College basketball fans, welcome back. Foul 'em Hard is back for another episode. Tonight it's Garrett and myself as usual when we get on this Foul 'em Hard episode. Excited to be back. Big congratulations to Garrett and his family welcoming in the baby. Things have been hectic for him and myself. We've had the holidays. So we've been trying to find the right time to get back and do this thing. And what better than a Friday night to get in here and talk some college basketball. We know most of you that are our live viewers are probably busy tonight. It's a Friday night. That's okay. This thing's going to be live for you on YouTube and Apple and Spotify once we get done here. But first things first, Garrett, welcome back. Glad we're in here. How you doing? How's the fam doing? And congratulations to you and the family, man.
Yeah, appreciate it, Collin. It's good to be back. Family's doing good. Man, we're really lucky. We're blessed to have the little guy in our life, and especially during such a great time of college basketball. So it's good to be back in here, right into the swing of things with college basketball, really into the thick of conference play. Things really ramping up. I'm excited to start watching more of it.
Absolutely, man. And college basketball has been fantastic. And like you said, hey, had a baby kind of at the right time. Get to stay home a little bit, stay indoors. It's cold outside. Get plenty of time to watch some college hoops. Nothing better than that, man. So we have a ton to get to tonight. So we're not going to waste a whole lot of time here in the beginning. We're going to kind of cut right into things. And the first thing that we're going to talk about is the latest college basketball AP Top 25. And not to bore you to sleep. So if you're with us on YouTube, what I'm about to do now is we have a banner we're going to scroll across with the top 25 so you can kind of follow along there and see the rankings for these top 25 basketball teams. But what we're going to do with this is Garrett and myself, we're just going to kind of go through, touch on a few teams, talk about some teams that we're a little surprised are in the top 25, talk about a team that we think should be higher, maybe not be in. So I'm going to kick it to Garrett first. Garrett, give me a surprise team for you that's in the top 25.
I mean, I think you have to go to Nebraska. I don't think, Collin, if you were to ask 50 people before the season started, do you think Nebraska at any point in this season is going to break into the top 25? I think 49 of them would have said no, and one Nebraska fan would have said yes. The job that Fred Hoiberg is doing with this Nebraska team, not only are they're beating good teams, but they're finding ways to win games that really, Collin, it looks like they have no business winning. They had a monumental comeback against my Hoosiers just this past weekend, down 16 with about 12 to play. That Nebraska team, not only can they punch you from the inside, Collin, it's one of the best three-point shooting teams I've ever watched in the Big Ten Conference. They have very few weaknesses besides maybe their size.
Yeah, that is one team for sure that we are shocked to see get in here in the top 25, and I love everything that they're doing. And to be honest with you, Garrett, spoiler alert, the team that I think should be ranked higher, my team was Nebraska for all the things that you just said. I mean, I think there's no reason that this Nebraska team couldn't be pushed up the list here, and we may see that. Obviously, the top 25 is going to shuffle up again come the end of this week, so we may see them get slid up higher. But, yeah, that was, for me, kind of everything that you touched on. The team for me that should be pushed up the rankings in a good way was Nebraska. But to touch on a team for me that is a surprise team in the top 25 team for me, it's Georgia. And one of the reasons is we see Silas Demery leave Georgia this year, go over to UConn, arguably their best player last year in that Georgia basketball team, and you lose him, and you kind of think, well, maybe Georgia's not going to have the best season moving forward. But you see Jeremiah Wilkinson getting here, averaging 17.8 points per game. So credit to him and what he's bringing to this basketball team. And they share the ball around pretty good. But what I'm worried about with them moving forward, honestly, is you see them get into conference play here. They played 4 games in conference play. They're 2-2, and that's not a great start. They do lose to Florida. They lose to Ole Miss. That Ole Miss team's a little sneaky. They'll get some of these teams right now, and they're playing some pretty good basketball too. And like I said a second ago, you're into Florida. I mean, Florida's a damn good basketball team. Haven't been kicking on all cylinders all season. But obviously they're as talented as anybody when they do get this thing going. So not two terrible losses, but not two great losses. Anxious to see if they hang around this top 25 much longer after 2 losses in conference play right away.
I just think it's going to be really hard for Georgia to stick around that top 25 in the SEC conference. I have an argument to make that I think the Big Ten might be a little bit deeper this year than the SEC. But that SEC conference is still no joke, Collin. And I don't think you're going to see Georgia in the top half of that, honestly, come mid-February. I really don't.
No, I think they're going to get lost in the shuffle as the schedule gets tougher. I think you're going to see the better teams start to prevail as the season gets on and you get a little bit of continuity with these rosters. I think you're going to see the better teams move up the rankings here in the SEC as well. So while we're talking about this, give me a team that you should be ranked higher or lower, whatever you want to go here.
I'm going to go to Michigan. Colin, I know they have a loss. I know they have a home loss to a Wisconsin team that is not very good. 5 out of 10 at best, I think, truthfully. This Michigan team, Colin, it's the best basketball team I've watched since maybe the 2011, 2012 Kentucky Wildcats. And I think they might even be better. Colin, they're starting 5. You have Yaxel at 6'9". You have Johnson at 6'9", Mara at 7'3", and Burnett at 6'5". They have more size than most NBA teams have on the court. Not only that, they're shooting 35% from 3. I don't know how you defend a team that can shoot the ball with that kind of size, and you have Elliot Cadeau running the point guard who makes virtually no mistakes. I don't think there's any reason, even before that loss, why they shouldn't have been the number 1 team in the country. I understand Arizona doesn't have a loss, but at some point, common sense has to take over, and they need to have that top spot.
I'm with you. I think Michigan can be the number 1 team in the country right now. I don't think anybody should argue that. Yeah, you saw Iowa State come into this week with no losses, Arizona no losses. And to touch on Iowa State, we're right there. They're a team for me that I think is ranked too high, arguably because I was going to have the argument and push that I think Michigan and maybe even UConn should be higher than Iowa State. The Iowa State thing for me, look, I know they got a win against a St. John's team that's been struggling early on when St. John's was ranked. It was a 1-point victory. So that at this moment, that St. John's victory doesn't look all impressive. I know they did beat number 1 Purdue, and they did beat the shit out of them. I'll give them that. Look, that's one great win, and you do have to hang your hat on that, and you do have to recognize that. But kind of since then, they've been in some really tough games, Garrett. I just don't know that I think this team has it down the stretch. I'm not necessarily sold. They do have 3 good players. You know, Josh Jefferson's shooting 49%. Momcilovic is shooting 54%, 53% from 3. I don't know how sustainable this is long term. And that's what I worry about when they get into conference play. The Big 12 is deep. The Big 12 is good. They get to playing these teams in the conference, you know, like Kansas again, where they just got drummed by them. They play Arizona, BYU, Houston, Baylor even. They play those teams, Garrett, and I think you're going to see things be a little bit different when you're not sitting out here playing Houston Christian and Alcorn State and Syracuse. Like, I think things are going to change for this Iowa State team a little bit. I do think they're good. Don't get me wrong. They're a top 25 team, no doubt. Top 10 team, no doubt. Number 2 team, not for me, Garrett.
Colin, I don't know if it's just me or if it's maybe the Iowa State teams from the past that make me believe in this stereotype. I always fear that Iowa State is going to struggle to score the ball in big games. Yeah. I don't know why I feel that way. They actually have a very efficient offense. You just listed off the 3 studs that they have. It's just a worry for me every time it seems like Iowa State gets in one of these big games. Kansas on the road, for example. They couldn't put the ball in the bottom of the hoop. Now, I understand Allen Fieldhouse is Allen Fieldhouse.
Yeah, it is.
How many teams go into Allen Fieldhouse and win? Not freaking many. But the number 2 team in the country should put up a better fight than that.
It's to your point of the stereotype of Iowa State not being able to score in big games. That's TJ Otzelberger, dude, the head coach. Man, that's just what it feels like he brings with this team every time. So I'm with you, and maybe I'm a little bit jaded because of that as well. But there is no reason in my mind that I'm not pushing Michigan up over them, UConn up over them. I mean, there's a lot of teams that we could have conversations that should be ahead of this Iowa State team. Anything else in this top 25 you want to touch on?
No, really the only thing, I see BYU sitting there at 11. Do I think that's appropriate for this time of the season? Maybe so. They have a couple losses, okay? Colin, this is a top 5 team through and through. I don't know if there's a world where if you told me choose somebody to win the Big 12, that I'm taking anyone but BYU. I think they're that good. I think Devontae is that good. I still think Richie Saunders is one of the absolute best shooters in the nation. I really like this BYU team, and I was not a huge fan of them to start the season because I didn't know what we would get out of Devontae. But good Lord, Colin. We'll talk about him later, but one of the rawest freshmen I've ever watched.
Best player in the country. I'll say it now before we even get that far ahead. And to answer this, there's a real case in my mind where BYU is a top 5 team. They're 16-1, and they haven't lost since November 15th in a 2-point loss to UConn. UConn has some continuity. UConn has a championship head coach. This was the 4th game of the regular season for A.J. Devontae and a team It didn't get pieced together because Saunders was there. I'm drawing a blank on the big man. I don't know why I'm forgetting his name, but he was there last year as well. But then you bring in Rob Wright and Devonta to come with it. And I remember watching that game, and it wasn't BYU's. It wasn't a B+ performance from BYU, and they sat there and hung around in this basketball game and only lost by 2. So I'm with you. It's November 15th, and they haven't lost since then. This team has found it. This team is damn good. What they are missing is kind of that signature win since then. You could maybe hang your hat on a Wisconsin win. It was right after that UConn loss. So it's been a while for that as well. They have beat Clemson in there. But you don't have anything to hang your hat on since, but you can tell this team's rolling.
Yeah, and the one thing, Collin, with maybe unfair of me to say this. Let's say Duke was sitting here, and I used to be a Duke hater. I'm not anymore. My wife's a fan, which means I'm a fan.
Have to be.
If Duke is sitting here at 16-1 with a 2-point loss to UConn, where do you think they'd be ranked, Collin? Top 3?
Yeah.
I mean, 2 or 3 probably. I don't understand where that ranking falls into place for BYU. I think they've proved to everyone in this country they're the real deal. They'll climb up the rankings. They haven't had great opportunities, like you said, yet. The Big 12's good enough. They're going to get those opportunities.
To answer your question, if it was a Duke team, they'd be ranked number 6. They're 16-1 with a 1-point loss to Texas Tech. So, I mean,
there you go.
They would be right there. There's an argument to be made that BYU's loss is a much better loss than Duke's because they lost to UConn, who they now have as the number 3 team in the country. But I guess where the difference for Duke is they had a ranked win against SMU, which I didn't think was that good of a basketball team, but was ranked at the time. They have a ranked win against a Louisville team that really seems to be struggling. They have a ranked win against Arkansas, ranked win against Florida, ranked win against Michigan State, ranked win against Kansas at the time. So, Duke has one hell of a resume, man. I will give them the credit where it is due. I don't know if when they played Louisville, if Michael Brown was playing for Louisville in that game. I don't think he was. But yeah, this Duke team's battle tested. They're damn good. But you're right. If Duke,
and kudos to Duke for scheduling like that.
Yes.
You know what I mean, Collin? It's different. And this is a really important because I always have to remind my wife Sydney of this. She's always making fun of Indiana's non-conference schedule compared to Duke's, and I say this. Duke is going to win half or more than half of those games.
Yes.
Scheduling non-conference like Duke does, like Alabama does, like Purdue does, it's resume builders because they're winning half of them, more than half of them.
Yep.
Collin, if Indiana or Mizzou schedule like that and they lose all 4 of them, they lose all 5 of them, they're toast. There's 5. You need those 5 free wins to help your tournament case. It's just food for thought. I wanted to throw that out there.
No, you're right. I mean, and not to dive into Mizzou too deep, but hell, look, they scheduled an out-of-conference game against Illinois and Kansas and got absolutely drummed in both, and they're on the outside looking in for tournament predictions already so far. And not like I said, not to dive into Mizzou. They're coming around. They're getting healthy at the right time. Big win against Florida. Big win against Kentucky. Big win against Auburn. I think what stains that resume is that loss against Notre Dame. That was a really, really bad loss. It was early on, but that was kind of your first big test early on, and you lost to a Notre Dame team that's not that good. And they have gotten worse. They had a big injury on their team, so they've gotten worse. But, yeah, to your point, if you're going to schedule those big games, you better at least compete, and you damn sure better win a couple of them.
And I guess where I was going with that is BYU is historically not a team.
Correct.
With this type of talent on their roster. Yep. They're not used to scheduling non-conference games that are extraordinarily meaningful. So they haven't had many opportunities to bump up in those rankings. But my argument is they have proved that they are better than the 11th best team in the country.
They are 100% better than the 11th team in the country. And you may hear us both talk about them later. And Keita, who I was thinking of earlier, there is not a guy that plays bigger and meaner than him in the country, and he is a staple for that team inside. Anything else on top 25 you want to talk about?
No, I'm good.
Okay. What we're going to do now is kind of stay in the same area a little bit, maybe dive a little bit deeper into some. So if you're following with us here on YouTube or if you watch us back on YouTube, you can see. But what we're going to do now is talk about each conference of the big conferences kind of individually. touch on the top 5 teams in the conference right now. And the first one we're going to talk about is the ACC. And you have NC State and Syracuse splitting at number 5, both teams 3-1. Virginia number 4 with 4-1, Miami number 3 at 4-0, Clemson at number 2 5-0, and Duke at the top 5-0. Garrett, with these rankings, are you surprised that we're not talking about anybody? Are you surprised we are talking about somebody in the ACC? And obviously, we're going to do this every time we talk about some conferences, and we probably won't talk about these conference standings every episode. We're just kind of touching on this because we're getting back into things, and we got to get everybody updated if you haven't been following everything outside of us. So now that we're back, we're giving this to you so you have it. But make your pick, obviously, with the ACC moving forward, and tell me what you don't like in these top 5.
Yeah, I'm surprised Louisville's not in there, truthfully. Obviously, the injury to Michael Brown is huge. I mean, one of the best offensive freshmen we have seen in this conference in a long time, especially on a team like Louisville. It's really refreshing to see a player of that caliber on a team that's not, one of your blue bloods. I'm surprised to not see them up there. I was really surprised making this list. I'm still not going to be shocked, Colin, if you see Louisville finish second in this conference behind Duke.
Yeah.
I think Duke is probably about as easy of a lock to win this conference with Louisville already having 2 losses. I don't see Miami. I don't see Clemson hanging in there. Although I do want to say my long shot pick before the season started was Miami to win this conference. So I'm pleasantly surprised to see them at 4-0. But I just don't see a world in which Duke loses more than a couple conference games. Maybe lose one, on the road to a Clemson and probably split with UNC. But that's kind of the route I lean. I don't see a world where Duke is not winning this conference.
I'm with you on the Louisville thing because what's crazy is not crazy that I picked everybody that follows us on college football show or college basketball knows I'm full of taking long shots. I hate being by the book. I like making things fun, even if it means I'm wrong. And I took Louisville to win this conference along with a lot of people that were taking Louisville to win this conference. Michael Brown is a massive loss. He's going to get back here hopefully at some point. It's a shame, too, because Ryan Conwell on this team has stepped up in a big way to play alongside Michael Brown, and they would be really lethal if they were both on the court at the same time. And you do see them be really good together when they are on the court at the same time. So it does suck for Louisville. With that being said, this is no doubt. This is Duke's conference to lose. I do want to point out one thing. Credit to the ACC for getting right this season. They were really bad last season. Credit to them for getting right this season and becoming fairly deep as a conference as a whole. Also, let's give credit to Virginia a little bit. Pretty good bounce back. This is a pretty good basketball team right now. DeRidder's a really good player. They're kind of funneling through him. He's getting 16 points a game, 6 rebounds a game, shooting at 54%. I mean, this is – hey, he's stapling this team and allowing them to become a pretty damn good conference ACC basketball team. Don't be surprised to see them hang around long-term, get some big wins down the stretch. So I want to give them the credit that they're due. I also am with you. I think you see UNC climb up these rankings quite a bit, get their name in the hat here, probably slide in the top 3 or 4 in the conference as it moves on. They had freshman Caleb Wilson, who was one of the best players to watch in college basketball. If you haven't watched him or a UNC game, tune into them because he is an entertaining highlight at all times.
I do want to say, you brought up Virginia, Colin. It is so refreshing to watch them win games 74-70 as opposed to 58-52. This new look Virginia is so much better. Colin, I love Tony Bennett as a coach more than probably most people. I loved him. I loved his style. But good Lord, it was so hard to watch them play basketball games sometimes, especially those final couple years of Tony Bennett's really outstanding coaching tenure. That Virginia team was a train wreck those last few years. And I do want to mention one more thing about the ACC. I know NC State is sitting there at 3-1. Colin, I don't think Will Wade has done near as good a job with NC State as he did really at LSU or McNeese. I'm fairly disappointed in the way this NC State team looks. He's kind of an asshole in every interview that I watch him give. Understand he's trying to defend his team, defend his players, but it seems like Will Wade's a little bit stressed out with this NC State team. And I'm just a little disappointed. I understand they're at 3-1 in the conference, but they don't look that good.
Yeah, well, I think they just had a lot bigger expectations quickly, right? I mean, you bring Copeland to this team, Darian Williams to this team. They had a lot higher expectations early on, and they are not reaching the expectations. Like you said, I know they're 3-1 in conference play, but when I watch them get on the basketball court, I am not impressed. They really struggle to score a lot of the time. So, not impressed at all. Anything else on the ACC?
I'm good.
All right, let's move on to the Big 12 here. And once again, across the bottom, you can see the Big 12 top five. We have Arizona 1, BYU 2, Houston 3, Iowa State 4, UCF and Texas Tech tied at number 5. Take it from here, Garrett.
I would love to go BYU, but I know you're going to go that route, so I'll make a different argument. Arizona's a good basketball team, Collin. They're really good. Koa Pete's a stud. Koa Pete's a monster. Yeah. I just don't trust Arizona. I don't, Collin, especially come March. They may win this conference. They may win the conference tournament. I don't give a bleep. I don't. I got to see them win a couple games in the big tournament. I'm going to go to Houston. I love this Houston team, Collin. It seems like I've watched the same Houston team for the last 7 years.
That is no shit.
It seems like they have had these guys on their team. It seems like they've had Emmanuel Sharp and all these guys on this team forever.
Yep.
I still think playing a game at Houston is one of the hardest places to play. I think Kelvin Sampson is one of the most underappreciated coaches in all of college basketball. And they are the toughest team year after year after year after year. If I had to take a pick right now, I'm probably leaning BYU, but I think Houston's a very close second.
I am not going the direction that you think I was going to go, shockingly. Listen, I want to make a case for BYU too. I said it earlier, AJ DeBonce is the best player in the country. I'll stand on that right now. I know people are going to say boozer and all that. That's fine. That's fine. Go watch a BYU game then and watch what DeBonce does in all levels of the court and tell me that you still feel the same way. And if you do, that's fine. We can be different. But I'm sold on him and this BYU team. I think they're very deep. I'm going to stick right here with Arizona. And why I'm going to take Arizona is because this sounds really bad and it sounds like I'm really throwing stones at somebody. But I trust this team a little bit more than I ever have because Caleb Love's not there. This is a team that has other options now, Garrett. This is a team that plays as a team. They do exactly that now. They don't funnel through one guy hoisting up threes from 35 feet out at the end of a game when all else has failed, and he just keeps throwing the ball up. They have good guard play. Koa Pete can take basketball games over. He is a mismatch inside at times. And, dude, their resume is the most impressive in the country. There's a reason they're number one team. They're undefeated. They got a win against Florida, UCLA, UConn, Auburn, Alabama, Kansas State, Utah. They've got all these games they've already tallied up, and I think that separates them in the Big 12. When they go to BYU on January 26th, do not miss that basketball game for anybody that likes college basketball. Even if you don't, even if you're a casual fan, do not miss that game because I think what it comes down to is these matchups between Arizona, BYU, Arizona, Houston, BYU, Houston, all the teams that you and I just talked about. That's what this conference comes down to. I think, like I said earlier, I think you see Iowa State kind of slip out of this a little bit now that they're in conference play, and I think you see these top three teams really take this thing over down the stretch. I'm sold on Arizona, man. I think they're well coached, and I like them as a complete team. And like I said, I like their guard play without a particular person there this season.
I think for America's sake, I think that Arizona BYU game, I don't think there should be a single possession where DeBonce and Koa Pete are not one-on-one against each other. Mm-hmm. I don't want to see switches. I don't want to see screens. I want to see 40 straight minutes of one-on-one basketball between those two. I really do. I think that would be so entertaining. And I don't know who would get the better. I think DeBonce probably would. But Koa Pete is much more physical and much stronger than DeBonce is.
For DeBonce to get it, this is why I was saying DeBonce is the best player in the country because he's at all phases of the game. Where DeBonce could get him is DeBonce's faster. DeBonce can stretch the floor better. He can shoot it from outside better. But if DeBonce goes inside on him, Koa Pete's going to pack his lunch. Well, that guy Koa Pete is physical, doesn't look like a freshman, is built like a brick shit house, could start an outside linebacker, a middle linebacker for college football teams. The dude's a specimen. Let's move on to the Big East here, actually. Sorry. And once again, across the bottom here, Big East, UConn number 1, Villanova number 2, St. John's number 3, Creighton number 4, Seton Hall number 5. First thing I'm going to say about the Big East, Garrett, it's a letdown. It's a letdown. The Big East to me is last year's ACC. We see the conversation in here with Villanova and St. John's and Creighton and Seton Hall. Listen, man, matching up against those other teams in the country outside of the Big East, I don't see it for any of those teams right now. St. John's is starting to find it, and everybody that watches our show knows I'm a St. John's guy. St. John's made me a lot of money last year. St. John's made me look like a college basketball whisperer last year. They're starting to find it. But outside of UConn, there's no conversation, in my opinion, to really dive too deep into on the Big East for me personally. So, once again, you go ahead.
There is no conversation. I don't think UConn will drop a game in this conference all year. I'm sure they will somewhere. They'll probably lose on the road against a team like Butler, who we never expect. I mean, they'll drop a game.
And not to interrupt you, you and I are not UConn or Dan Hurley supporters on this show. So this is just you being honest. Like we're not supporters of them.
No, and I think it's just a testament to how bad the Big East is this year. I mean, Collin, I mentioned it before the show. You have a team. I don't even know if I want to go down this rabbit hole, but I'm going to anyway. Okay. You have a team of Marquette who's supposed to be one of the top teams in this conference with what people keep saying is one of the best coaches in college basketball. He does everything right. What a great X's and O's coach.
We have rode his ass on this show. We rode his ass.
He is 6-12 in a shit conference. Why does he have a job? Collin, he's terrible. This Marquette team, it really frustrates me even tuning in. I thought when Indiana beat them by 20 early in the year that we really had something there. I thought that was going to be a really good win for the resume. We may as well have scheduled Delaware.
Yeah, dude, what's funny about it, too, is we rode his ass all last year. We make the jokes all the time, the long sleeve shirts, all this shit. Like the striped shirts, the long sleeve. We are not Shaka Smart fans on this network either. And we're not going to start now. I think, once again, the Big East Conference makes you and I look really good often. And the Shaka Smart thing is coming to a head for everybody out there finally. He had teams where he should have had a lot more success in March than he ever did because he blew it as a coach, in my opinion. So I'm with you. Really, really disappointing. They are literally dead last in the conference. They're 1-6 in conference play. This team is not good. I think it's
Collin, the problem with that, I look at Marquette's letdown and Marquette's collapse, very similar that I look to Virginia's collapse in the ACC. The Big East needs Marquette to be good. They need Marquette to be relevant. They need teams like Marquette and Butler and Providence to win some basketball games and kind of that conference. And Xavier. Yeah. They need these teams to be – they don't need them to be great. It's the Big East. But be good enough that you're always talked about on the bubble. You know, first four, last four in, next four out. They got to be somewhere in that range just so these teams like UConn and Villanova and St. John's, really Villanova, St. John's in particular, who are going to be maybe on the outside looking in, maybe right on the edge. They need these teams to be quad one wins, and they're not, which is a huge problem for this conference. Huge problem.
And to your point, I think it would be big, and it would be huge for Seton Hall. Like Shaheen Holloway's in here trying to do big things at Seton Hall, and they got in the rankings. They got a couple bad losses, in my opinion. So I'm not real sure how we're talking about. Like the USC loss is not good. So I'm shocked that they're in these rankings. And after this loss to UConn, they kept it close. But I think you're going to see them slide out. But yeah, they need the mid-tier teams of this conference to step up and be better, and they're not helping them at all. So it is UConn all the way, and it is not close in this conference.
No, it is refreshing. The only other thing I'll say about the Big East, it's nice to see Villanova back up there. This conference is better when Villanova's good.
Yeah, college basketball is better when Villanova's good. They're one of those teams that you want to see be good. And the Big East has a long history of Butler and Xavier, like we said. What 3 years ago, Providence was banging around when they had Bryce Hopkins on that team. Like this, it's what you want to see. Moving on to the Big Ten, we have number 1, Nebraska, number 2, Purdue, number 3, Michigan, number 4, Michigan State, number 5, Illinois. Obviously, we both want to talk about Nebraska and what they've done so far. We both want to talk about Michigan and how they're the best team that we've both laid eyes on in a long time. Talk about Purdue and what they have and what they continue to have and what a job Paint does as the head coach. I'm going to direct my attention to an Illinois team that I just don't really think, Garrett, is as good as advertised right now. I know they're the number 13 team in the country. when I watch this Illinois basketball team, something about them just doesn't impress me. Maybe I'm wrong, and I'm okay with that. When I watch this team, I ask myself, when they get to March and the going gets tough and you got to string wins together against teams that want it just as bad as you, do they have it? And I just don't think they do. And I'm not a Brad Underwood guy. Maybe that's part of it. I'm just not sold on this Illinois team. So tell me if you think I'm wrong or if you agree. I'm just not with it.
I think Illinois can pose some matchup problems. That's really the only thing that I like. I don't even know if like is the right term. It's the only thing that gets Illinois above the hump of other teams to me. When they start Avicic, I cannot pronounce his name, and Mirovic, they're a problem because they're essentially starting two bigs. One of them can stretch the floor at any time. I think Boswell is probably in the top half of point guards in this conference. I don't think he's fantastic, but he's a really good defender, and he can knock down the three. Illinois is always one of those teams to me, Collin, that it seems like they're always in this position, somewhere between 10 and 20 in the rankings. They may win a game in March, and then that's probably the end of it. I think they're probably going to stick right around that 5 spot in the Big Ten. I don't think they're going to win it, but I don't see them climbing any higher than 5. Truthfully, I don't.
It's also really, maybe my problem is it's really hard for me to say anybody on their team's name except Wagler and Boswell. They are impressive. They're long. They have some length, and Boswell is good. I don't know. Something about him when I watch him, I'm just not impressed. There's not a guy that I think really leads this team when they really need to get it going. I think there are times when, like, they rely on Avicic too much to shoot some of these big time threes in these moments that I don't think he can down the stretch. And I know they have the Avicic brothers, so I don't know. I'm just not with them, man.
They're not a. It's not a team when you watch them that you really ever say, "Wow." You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like you watch half of these teams in the top 25, and they're going to make you say, "Wow." At some point, Illinois will never really do that. And speaking of a guy to say, "Wow," that's kind of where I'm going to transition.
Well, hang on, before you go there. Michigan State's just like Illinois to me. I don't say wow when I watch them, unless Cohen Carr is doing some crazy shit dunking the basketball.
That's where I'm going, Collin. I think Michigan State. I understand they beat Indiana by 25 or however many it was. This was a 53-53 game in East Lansing with 11 to go, and Indiana fell apart. I think this Michigan State team is one of the absolute worst shooting teams I've ever watched in my entire life. I don't care what anyone says about Cohen Carr. I think he's a horrific basketball player. I think he can jump. That is all he can do. And defend. He can defend at a pretty high level. I never want to see the ball leave his hands in any form of a jump shot. And at what point is that useful to a basketball team? Collin, I don't like anything about this Michigan State team. I wouldn't even be surprised if you start seeing teams literally let them shoot 25 threes a game. Because they won't make more than 8 of them. I promise you they won't. They might 2 or 3 times, but this team can't shoot. I think you'll see this Michigan State team fall completely out of the top 25, and I don't think you'll see them in the top 5 of the Big Ten standings. That's how much I really do not like this team.
Dude, I'm with you. I don't think they have a true bucket getter. Jackson Kohler can't be your guy. He does shoot over 50% from 3, and outside of that, the team really struggles. They're 35% from 3, and if you erase that 51% from Kohler, it's probably really ugly. Kohler shoots 18% from 3, dude. Why does he even shoot threes anymore?
Because he is – I'm not kidding you. His defender stands in the paint. And he still shoots. He throws away 5 possessions a game for Michigan State. More than that because he takes some mid-range jump shots. He throws away at least 7 possessions a game shooting the basketball.
Hey, he averages 11 points a game, and I'm going to say 8 points of those a game come from dunking the basketball. He is a human highlight reel when he gets off the ground. That's it.
He can fly. It's fun to watch him dunk. But as far as just appreciating the game of basketball, he's really bad. He's really bad.
And Jeremy Fierce is good, but once again, Kohler and Fierce aren't going to lead you, in my opinion, down the stretch in March unless you're winning basketball games 58-50.
And I've never been a fan, Collin. I've never been a fan of teams who start 2 bigs. I would classify Kohler as a big. I don't know if you're in the same boat. They start Kohler and Cooper most of the time. Kohler and Cooper are on the floor often together. I don't like that because the game of basketball has changed so much that most teams have a power forward or a four, whatever you want to call it, that can shoot.
Yep.
And that becomes a problem matchup defensively.
The rest of Big Ten, they're okay. But yeah, we don't really have to dive too deep into the Nebraska, Purdue, Michigan thing, man. We've said enough already about Nebraska and Michigan, in my opinion, and we're probably going to touch on them again before this is all over. Purdue is Purdue still. Purdue is really good, arguably the best guard play in the country, and we can leave it at that. You will see more Purdue down the stretch of this season. They're a damn good team again. Moving on to the SEC, what's funny about this, dude? Mizzou's number one on the SEC standings right now, tied for number one, I guess you could say. Really, you got a couple teams 3-1 here. Mizzou 3-1, Vandy 3-1 at number 2, Arkansas 3-1 at number 3, A&M 3-1 at number 4, Florida 3-1 at number 5. This is par for the course with the SEC when it comes to basketball. Got a whole lot of teams that could sprinkle in here. We could come back next week and not talk about any of these 5 teams again because that's how crazy the switch can flip in SEC basketball play. So, Garrett, I'm going to let you go ahead and go first. And surprisingly, I'm not – I will talk about Mizzou, actually. Go ahead, Garrett.
It's crazy. You don't see – the names you don't see in this top 5. Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky. It's crazy to even consider that those teams are not in the top 5 of this conference at this point in time. I still think Alabama is far and away the best team in this conference. Collin, I told a couple buddies this the other day. The thing that makes Alabama so difficult to play against, if you find yourself down early by 8 or 9 points, it is so hard to come back against Alabama.
Yep.
Because even when you make that 7-0 run, Alabama will score 9 points in 48 seconds.
Yep.
And it's like you can't fall behind these guys. And even if you build a 12, 15-point lead, Collin, that can get erased down to 3 or 4 in the blink of an eye. I think they're still far and away the best team in the conference. I am starting to worry about the amount of threes they take. I don't think you can really win a tournament taking that many. I love the play style. Don't get me wrong. I am all on board with Nate Oates' philosophy of threes, layups, and free throws. I think it's awesome. I wish I'd see more layups than threes from Alabama at this point in time, because I think Phylon can get to the bucket at any time. I think Millette can get to the bucket at any time. I just think they're leaving some points on the table because they get 3 happy. But I still wouldn't be surprised if you see them win this conference.
Yeah, they're not afraid to let Sherelle, Bo Bowen. They're not afraid to let anybody shoot threes because that's just his philosophy, man. You got to look, take it. He doesn't care. He's good with it. And you can make a case that they have the best guard play in the country right there with Purdue, if not better, because I feel like Bama is deeper with Phylon, Holloway, Wrightsell. Millette comes in and plays quite a bit as a guard as well. Like, really, really good team. And there's a reason that you'll probably hear both of us talk about them again later. I like everything from this basketball team, man. And to your point about 9 points in 48 seconds or whatever you said about Bama a second ago, dude, I had an under bet the other day. Marty coming in here must have a racy. That's why they're so successful. Marty's making a reference to something that happens at work, and they use what's called a racy to delegate work. And he's talking about that because I guess they delegate work at Bama very well. So I'm with you on that, dude. It's that's pretty funny if you get the inside joke there. But I had bet an under on a Bama game, and I forget who they were playing. It was probably a week or 2 ago, and I had an under. Don't ever ask me why I bet an under in a Bama game, but I did. And it was a Yale. It was Yale. Okay. They were coming after Christmas. Had been like 18 days since either team had played, and I was like, okay, first half under. It's going to be a really slow game, right? I know neither one of these teams are going to be able to find the bucket for a minute. They needed 17 points in 2 minutes in that game to beat my under, and they scored like 24 in 2 minutes together. And I was like, well, this will be the last time I ever bet an under in an Alabama basketball game. I should have known better, but 18-day break, I thought they could get it done. And I was wrong. But, yeah, I love this Bama team. The team that I'm going to talk about a little bit here is just because I feel like we have a lot of Mizzou fans that watch us. I'm going to touch on them a little bit. This Mizzou team, it's middle of the season, and you've had a lot of ups and downs as a Mizzou fan already. You've had a lot of things that you've watched, and you're like, holy shit, we're really bad. You get absolutely drummed by your rivals in Kansas and Illinois. Games weren't fun. Games weren't close. You scored 48 points against Illinois. An Illinois team that just a second ago, Garrett and I talked about how they don't wow you, and then you let them score 91 points on you. This is the same Dennis Gates bullshit, if you're a Mizzou fan, that you should just be used to by now. Accept it. This is what it is. We have probably 12-ish guys. Let me count. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 guys averaging 14 minutes or more. Talked about this last year, Garrett. This is how you don't win games down the stretch. Play your best 5. Rotate in 2 or 3 more that get the most minutes, that stand out from everybody else. And if your best 5 don't have it, keep your best 5 in and let your best 5 find it. That's all there is to it. That's how these good teams win. They don't play defense very well on the perimeter. They don't rebound very well. I don't mean to sit in here and just dog on Mizzou. Enjoy our time while we're 3-1 at the top of the conference. And maybe they do find it. They are getting healthy. Trent Pierce is back. Jaden Stone's healthy. Those 2 guys have proven to be big-time players for this team to have big-time success down the stretch. This conference is not easy. I just worry about the coaching. When the going gets tough, Dennis Gates is a great recruiter, but he is not a good X's and O's guy, and he does not allow the good players to find it on the nights they don't have it. And I do not like that at all down the stretch. So that's where I'm at with Mizzou. Hopefully they do. Hopefully I'm wrong, man. Hopefully we come back and they run this conference with some of these other teams like Vandy and Arkansas. But I'm not sold on them, Garrett.
Yeah, obviously, Colin, I don't follow Mizzou the way you do, just because they have just beyond pissed me off so much in years past that I can't stand to watch them. But the Dennis Gates thing still blows my mind. We talked about this last year. We talked about it a lot last year on how his rotations are just so absurd. The fact that it is the middle of January and you can't dwindle down this 11-man rotation to, just like you said, 8 or 9. I think even 9 is maybe too many. The fact that you can't find a rotation of your best players and play those guys exclusively is a problem.
Yep.
You can't possibly get into any sort of rhythm. Though that 9th, 10th, 11th guy playing 14 minutes a game, what kind of rhythm are they ever going to get into in 14 minutes? They have no idea what the flow of the game is like. They have no idea. It's way too the roster and the rotations is just absurd. The fact that you can't dwindle that down drives me crazy.
Same thing, different year, man. It's just what it is. It's what they do. I'm used to it by now. I don't think you're ever going to have long-term success doing that unless you get 11 guys that are 9 of them are better than the other 6 on the other team. I just don't. It's never going to happen.
I do remember. Do you remember when Kentucky had what they call it, a white platoon and a blue platoon, where they literally had 2 starting 5s that they rotated in?
Yes.
But you know the difference is like 9 of those guys went to the NBA.
That is the difference. That is a massive difference.
I would like to see, moral of the story, let's dwindle that rotation down to 8, and let's play our 8 best and give them the minutes that they need.
100%, man. Couldn't agree more. What we're going to do now is we're going to move out of the conferences a little bit, talk about some of the big games that have been played here recently that we've missed that we want to touch on real quick, and then we're going to move into our games of the week like we always do, and cap it off with the Wooden Award review and our top 4 review, and we'll get you guys out of here. So some of a couple game recaps we want to touch on here is number 2, Iowa State going to Kansas. Talked about this game earlier. Kansas wins this game by 21 points, 84-63. Was a drumming by Kansas. Kansas looked really good in this basketball game. Iowa State did not. Wisconsin 91 at Michigan 88. That was a game that Garrett touched on earlier. Surprised Michigan lost this game. What a performance by Wisconsin to hold on to this, Garrett, and win it.
Yeah.
You have any? I don't know if you have anything on these games too. Stop me. Otherwise,
I'm gonna kind of let you roll through these first 2 because we touched on them already. But I mean, the Wisconsin game, if we were to do a better or for worse on this game, which we will get that segment back, we've just missed too much time to kind of get into it. It's in my opinion, a worse loss for Michigan, especially being at home. That's really the way it boils down to me is you can't lose a home game to a team like Wisconsin, who really you have no business even being within 10 points of.
I almost wish we were doing one on this because I would say it was better for Wisconsin because Michigan may not lose another game. And if Wisconsin can hang their hat on the season saying, hey, we beat arguably the best team in college basketball in some time, and we beat them at their place, it doesn't get much better.
And you know, I like the argument because let's say Wisconsin finds himself on the bubble. Do you understand what that win means on the bubble, Collin?
Oh, it's
on the road, a win like that on the road will literally jump you in front of 4 teams. That win alone should.
Yep, absolutely. The next one is Texas 92 at Alabama 88. Bama should not have lost this basketball game.
No, but I do like the way that Texas has really responded to Sean Miller. I love the way that this Texas team, they had a horrible start to the season. Horrific start to the season. And they have strung together some really good wins. They beat Alabama on the road. They just had a great win against number 10 Vandy at home. This conference is better in all aspects. Football, basketball, I don't care what sport it is, if Texas is good. College sports is better when Texas is good.
Well, to stay right there, number 10 Vandy 64 at Texas 80. A Texas ass pounding, belt to ass in this basketball game again, right there for Texas. Texas Tech 65 at Houston 69. This game was awesome to watch all the way through. Loved this basketball game. Love when we get high caliber basketball games like this. There's nothing better than a good Big 12 top matchup, and this game was awesome. The last one that we have on this list is Duke 84 at Louisville 73. Once again, no Michael Brown, right? And Louisville, they're looking to try to get things right, and this Duke team is already humming.
Yeah, I'm going to go back to that Texas Tech Houston game. If you didn't get to watch that game in full, you missed a hell of a basketball game. And I want to give huge credit to JT Toppin for single-handedly carrying this Texas Tech team every game they play. Collin,
that's my fear.
He's a stud. He's all they got, but he's about as good as they come.
That's my fear for Texas Tech long term. They're a twisted ankle away on JT Toppin from not winning a game the rest of the season. Like he is all or nothing for Texas Tech, man. All or nothing. Let's move on to our games. Yes. Let's move on to our games of the week. And the first game was Baylor at Kansas. That game is currently going right now. And Garrett, when we came on, it was 37-36, Baylor up. I don't know if you checked the score throughout this episode. Kansas is up 71-51. Baylor has hit the brakes, and this is the same Baylor that broke my heart last year that does this shit over and over. And old Scott Drew is maybe finding himself in some conversations here as of late because this Baylor team just can't ever seem to get over the hump.
I feel the same way about Yesufu, Collin, as I did about Edgecombe.
Yeah.
I think he is one of the rawest freshmen in the country that cannot string together any bit of consistency.
Yep. 100%. They go as he goes. And when he's not going, they're not going. Saturday, the 17th, we have some big games. Number 19, Florida at number 10, Vanderbilt. We'll go back. Actually, let's just say one by one here. Make a pick in that game, Garrett.
Florida. I think Vanderbilt's trending the wrong direction. I think Florida's trending the right direction. I really like this Florida team. I think Thomas Hawk, I love him. I think Boogie Fland, I know we weren't super high on him last year at Arkansas. We wanted more of him. I think he's developing into a much better point guard. In order for Florida to win more games and big games, Xavier Lee has to start making shots. He has to. If he can't find a way to get better, this Florida team's in trouble. But I still love this team.
I'm with you. I'm taking Florida in this game as well. I was going to actually throw a little bit of stones at Boogie Fland a little bit here because I thought I'd get more from Boogie Fland so far at Florida. I know it's a transition. Got to get things going. Got to get things right. And didn't have the best season. Was banged up last year at Arkansas. But I thought we'd get more out of him so far. And I'm with you on the Xavier Lee thing. I think it's a transition up into a much higher caliber level of basketball, game in and game out. That's taking him some time, but I love everything about Ruben Chinyulu inside. One of the best rebounders in the country. I'm with you. I think one of these teams is going up and one of these teams is going down. Give me Florida as well. Number 17, Arkansas. At number 21, Georgia. This is Arkansas for me. No questions asked, Garrett.
No questions asked. Georgia will plummet out of these rankings after Saturday.
Yep, 100%. Saturday as well. Number 11, BYU. At number 15, Texas Tech. Where are you going here?
I think I have to go BYU. And the problem I'm going to have with Texas Tech here, JT Toppin is going to have his handful with Cada. His hands full. I don't think you're going to see Toppin score his standard 25, 30. I think he might struggle to even get 15 in this game. Cada is one of the best interior defenders in the whole country.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going BYU too. You don't see it often where Garrett and I align on all the picks on the same day, and we're taking all three road teams straight up. But yeah, I'm with you on this one as well. Give me BYU. Tuesday the 19th, we have your Indiana Hoosiers at number 4, Michigan. Brother, buckle up.
I just wanted to throw this in here to have a laugh. I think this game could get as ugly as 30. It wouldn't surprise me if it gets up to 40. Collin, I told you this before the episode started. Michigan starts 4 guys. I'm sorry, they start 3 guys bigger than anyone Indiana will put on the floor. And that includes the end of the bench guys. We don't have a single player that is as tall as Axel Lindeborg, and he's going to play the 3 for Michigan. Yeah. We're in trouble, big trouble.
This is just what you get when you play Michigan right now. Anybody. So, Michigan, I'm going to lay them no matter what it is. Hate doing that to you, but there's no doubt.
Fun fact, for the rest of the season, Michigan obviously is not an underdog in a single game that they play. They are only single-point favorites in 5 of those games. Every other game, they're double-digit favorite.
Yep. The next one, the last game we're going to talk about on the upcoming schedule is number 21, Georgia, who Garrett and I both don't think come Tuesday in this game that they're ranked, at Mizzou. Not being a homer here, I think Georgia's going the wrong way. I think Mizzou's going in the right way, trending opposite directions. Give me Mizzou. No questions asked for me on this one.
I'll take Georgia.
Really? Okay, all right.
Yeah, if they're gonna lose early in the week, they're gonna get a win on the road at Mizzou. It'd be a really, really typical Mizzou loss.
Mizzou doesn't lose at home. That's why I like this. That's why I like this. So I don't feel too terrible about it, I should say. Let's move right in here. We're about 52 minutes in, which is perfect. We've been moving right along. Told you guys we had tons we wanted to get to. Last 2 segments here, we're going to have a little brief discussion on the Wooden Award here. I'm going to throw some banner up for you guys for the top 3 so you guys can see it if you're with us on YouTube. And number 1, Cam Boozer, currently a heavy favorite at -225. Number 2, DeBonsa at +220. And the number 3, Brad Smith at +1,400. Are you taking anybody other than Boozer? Because when you have a Duke player that's this good, they just happen. When you have a Duke forward that's this good, that does get their name, has a pedigree with the name, is it possible for him to not win this award?
I mean, I don't think his odds should be this heavy. I think DeBonsa has proved he's a better basketball player overall than Boozer. I'm not knocking Cam Boozer, Collin. He's really, really good. He is really good, but he's not near as good as Cooper Flagg was. I don't think he's near as good as Zion was. And I don't even know if he's as good as Paolo Banchero was at Duke. I think he's on a Duke team that is a little bit weaker in depth, which is why you see such a heavy load for Cam Boozer. But I think DeBonsa really could make a pretty interesting push at this. And if this award was simply for the most important player to their team, it's JT Toppin.
JT Toppin, yeah.
Not even close, it's JT Toppin. But I think it's probably Boozer's award to lose.
It's Boozer's award to lose because everything I said a second ago. You know, you play for Duke. To your point, I don't think Duke's as good as a whole, as a team, as they have been in previous years. This team completely funnels everything through Boozer. If they need a bucket, they're going to him. I made this case to you before we went live, and this isn't me just trying to be a guy that's sitting on here, for lack of better terms, I'm just going to be blunt about it, bitching about how they always blow the whistle as referees. But if you watch a Duke basketball game and anybody gets up close on Boozer and plays some defense, the whistle's being blown. And that's why it's hard to bet against Duke. That's why it's hard to bet against Boozer. He's a physical guy. He's a big guy. And I feel like when you have those guys, they got to play up close and personal defense. And the officiating doesn't really allow it often. So this is 100% Boozer's award to lose. My vote is A.J. DeBonsa. I'm right there with you in the same thing as JT Toppin. If I was to bet for me of guys that I think are of this award, it's DeBonsa, Toppin, Boozer, and then probably Josh Jefferson. So
you can answer this simply with a yes or no. We don't have to get deep into it. Just a simple yes or no is fine. Do you think the last name Boozer helps his case?
Yes.
I think it does too.
And then that's what I was kind of saying earlier too. You know, with the pedigree, and when I'm saying the pedigree, I mean the family name.
Of course.
You know, it's so that helps. And you were being the top recruit, that helps. Playing for Duke, that helps. Always being on a national broadcasted game, that helps. They prop the name up and they put you in front of eyes, and that's how you win these awards. Just to be honest. Anything else on this, Garrett?
No, the only other name I'm going to throw out there that I think should get some recognition, because I still think he's one of the top 2 or 3 forwards in the entire country. Most people don't see him because his games start at 1:30 in the morning, is Graham Ike for Gonzaga. You'll hear that name come more in March when you start watching this tournament. I think he is probably the rawest talent actually working in the post in the country. I don't think there's anyone with better footwork at the center position than Graham Ike.
Yeah, I mentioned Keita earlier being, you know, the meanest inside player in the country. It's actually probably Ike. To your point, I'm not wanting to get involved with either one of them two inside. They're gonna beat somebody's ass before the season's over, dude. Them two guys do not play when you come in their paint. So what we're gonna do to wrap things up here is Garrett's gonna give his mid-season Final Four. I'm gonna give my mid-season Final Four. And Garrett, go ahead and tell me who your Final Four is, and go, if you don't mind, from 4 to 1 for me.
Okay. 4, I'm going to go with Alabama, and I'm going to keep my reasonings very brief. Good coaching, veteran guard play, and I love their style of play. 3s, free throws, layups. I think it's a recipe for success. I think this Alabama team is just as good as any Bama team in the past. I love them. 3, Gonzaga. I love Graham Ike. And I love Mark Few. Collin, Mark Few hasn't got his natty yet. I think it's coming before he retires. It wouldn't surprise me if this is his year. It's really strange to hear Gonzaga's name because they are talked about so little this year. And they're just as good, maybe even better than they've been in years past. I really think this Gonzaga team can make a pretty good run in this tournament.
Do you remember preseason? Remember preseason, I was talking about how Gonzaga is a team that nobody's talking about. Like they're silently moving around and nobody's talking about them. And that is scary if you're anybody else that runs into Gonzaga. One thing that scares me, and he's going to be back for March, I believe, is I'm pretty sure Braden Huff's out 6 to 8 weeks, I think, right? And he is a big-time player for this basketball team. But I love Gonzaga as well.
Who cares? They're playing Loyola Marymount and Pepperdine. And they're confident. I don't care if you sit until March. I really don't.
Yep.
Number 2, BYU. And it's mainly because of DeBonsa, but I love his pieces around him. I think this team is built perfect. I really do. They have a point guard in Rob Wright who I was hard on to start the season, Collin. He's developed into a much better point guard than he started the season as. He has to continue to progress for this BYU team to really make a run. Richie Saunders, everybody knows I love Richie Saunders. I love everything he does. And then Keita's, in my opinion, the most physical center in the country. It's a perfect blend to have a success in March, in my opinion.
What's funny, too, is I remember talking and saying, you know what, Garrett, maybe Rob Wright just doesn't have it. And he's settling in, finally.
It was – I really think the turning point for Rob Wright was the buzzer beater against – I don't remember who it was against. I'm drawing a blank.
Yep.
It almost seemed like the confidence of Rob Wright after that shot went from here up here. It was like the flip of a switch. It's like Rob Wright is back. And sometimes that's all it takes. And then number 1, I'm not even going to spend any time talking about it. It's Michigan. They're the best team I've ever seen. Truthfully, the best team I've ever watched.
Yep. Well, we'll right into my Final Four then too. And not to get repetitive, my number 4 is BYU. Same thing you talked about. something I'm going to add on again for the 10th time this episode. AJ DeBonsa, best player in the country. When you have the best player in the country, good things can happen. My number 3 is Arizona. I love their guard play. Love it in Braden Burries and Jaden Bradley. This team's really good. Talked about it earlier. Killer Pete. Don't have Caleb Love hoisting up 40-footers for no reason. I like Arizona. Love everything they bring to the table. And love what I'm seeing from them. My number 2, Alabama. All the same reasons you said. Guard play, guard play, guard play for me. They're getting hot at the right time. They can shoot threes no matter if they're down 10. Earlier you were saying I thought you were saying when a team was down – or I thought you were saying when Bama was down 10, I chimed in and said it doesn't matter. You were going in the direction if Bama's up on a team by 9 or 10 points, that team is buried. Yes. But I also, on the flip side of that, can say if Bama's down 10, doesn't matter. They're going to shoot their way back. They're going to keep hoisting them. They're going to win games. As long as, like you said earlier, they don't just completely go 110% cold for the course of a game, they're going to find their way to be in the game no matter what at the end. Number 1 for me, Michigan. Same things you said. Don't want to beat a dead horse here. They're just that good, dude. And if you don't think so, watch more because they are just that good. I don't even know what else to say. They're long, they're strong, the most complete team in the country, and they got it. If they don't win it, it's a letdown, in my opinion, for Michigan.
Complete letdown. I don't know what their odds are at this point to win the national championship, but whatever it is, it's too high. I mean, they should be minus 110 to win the national championship. They're that good.
Yes, no doubt. In my mind, they are that damn good. Garrett, anything else since we are getting back here that you want to talk about before we get out of here tonight?
No, I think I'm good. We're going to try to make this more frequent. I know we've taken some time off, but kind of some personal things to take care of. So
yeah, hey, man.
Back in the lab a little bit more as the season starts picking up. Now that conference play is really full force, it's time to get back into a little bit more. And before you know it, we're going to be talking about a bracket.
Yeah, absolutely. Family first, man. Take care of those things for sure. The college football season is winding down as well. I'm going to have a lot more time on my hands after that. You're settling in with the newborn now, and the holidays are over. So yes, hoping to get back in here and do this thing once a week. I love the Friday night episodes. If we can maybe stick to that, I'm cool with that. But we will find something to make sure we're getting back in here as frequently as we can and get back into all the fun things we used to do with the For Better or For Worse. Feel like that was a hit and getting things going. So pumped to be back, and Fallon Hard's flowing on all cylinders. And make sure you're rocking with us, telling your friends, telling your family. Garrett, anything else before we hop out? You good?
We're good. Go Hoosiers.
All right, man. That's Garrett. I'm Collin. This is Fallon Hard with Deep Threat Sports Network. You can follow us on Apple, YouTube, Spotify, Deep Threat Sports, Facebook, Deep Threat Sports Network, XDT_sports_. Like, subscribe, tell your friends. Hey, Garrett, till next time, buddy. Peace.